Sweet. Well, thanks for meeting with me today. I really appreciate
Of
it.
course, no problem.
I'll make
Thanks
it
for
quick, 'cause I know you're probably
thanks for following up.
Yeah, of course. Probably a busy schedule, so I'll make it quick. Um, so first, can you talk about a little bit about your background as a coach and how it
Sure.
led you to being the JU coach?
Yeah, of course. So after I finished playing a very short professional career, I went to volunteer at the University of Central Florida. I was doing youth coaching at the time, and as a volunteer. So then I really fell in love with the college environment and the ability that we have to impact, lives of young people in the college environment. So I really focused in and started getting my education and licensing towards coaching. And so in 2014, committed to, towards doing it. 2008, committed the first 7 years to University of Central Florida, where I went from volunteer to associate head coach into 2014, and then really had the drive and the ambition to become a head coach, to just sit on a platform where we can make change and we can impact the life of young people in a positive way. Mainly because I felt that my college years were really transformative for me, and I didn't really realize that until after college. But I understood the impact that college life and college Division I athletics had in my life and in my forming. So I really wanted to be part of that fabric of how we're going to form young people and young leaders once they leave college. So I had the opportunity to come to JU as a head coach at the time in 2014, and been here ever since. I lost your connection.
Yeah, sorry there.
There you
go. I was on mute. I wanted to ask, what role do you play in recruiting?
Yeah, really my associate head coach, Tom Buckner, he does a lot of the filtering. We meet regularly to talk about what our needs are, what our depth on the team is, availability on funding that we have to consider, and really the makeup of the team, of what we need personality wise, what we need technically, physically. And then I have to make the final decision. So from the final offer that we would give to the final decision, to meeting with the families, meeting with the players. Nowadays, COVID got us to be used to meeting people on Zoom and FaceTime a lot more than we did before. And I think that's opened up a good avenue as well to recruit outside of our immediate region. We still can get a lot of good content and get to know someone quite a bit. So, but yeah, we go from the beginning, from identification. Sometimes I identify it in events that I go to. Sometimes our associate coach identifies it. He's our recruiting coordinator. We get tons of video and footage from players and agencies and coaches. So we have to filter through that quite a bit. But we have a profile that we're looking at for each positional profile, and then certainly personality profile and physical attributes. And we just have to go off of how closely are the players that we're recruiting to that profile. Sometimes you make adaptations to it, but we try to stay pretty close to that.
Okay. And how's the process different with recruiting transfer students out of another college rather than like a high school student?
It's
if
different.
It is different at all.
Yeah, it's a little different because you kind of get to the point a little bit more, I guess I would say, because you have a better reference point, right? Like if they've done well in college, and I transferred myself, so I don't have this negative tone of oh, he didn't work out somewhere, this means it's not gonna work out somewhere else. Like, oh, he's a cancer in this environment. I think that's sometimes the tone that's taken. Just because someone's transferring, that it means they didn't work out somewhere else. It may not have just been a good fit. It might have been location, might have been position, might have been style of play. Players and coaches didn't really make the right decision at that time. So I think we need to filter through that first and foremost. Are we taking on baggage from somewhere else, and so we often ask the players some really key questions of, if I were to call your coach, and we often do because we have relationships, what would they say about your experience there? Mm-hmm. And we want to know that even if it was a bad experience, the player has the ability to self-reflect. And if they recognize and say, you know what, I could have done things differently, rather than just point finger and place blame. I think we want players that are ready for a second chance, if you would. So recognizing that young people make mistakes and it's not perfect, and coaches make mistakes as well, and we need to recognize that in our process also. So the college the transfer process is a little more to that point, right? Mm-hmm. Where young people, where you're recruiting true freshmen, It's really about getting to know them and getting to know habits and character, and really about where they are in their development. But transfers, you kind of have an expectation that they come in and perform right away. So you want to get to the point a little bit quicker.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to switch the pace a little from recruiting to kind of more about the team. So you won the ASUN last year, correct?
In the spring of 2021, yeah.
Okay. So what are your expectations and goal for this season? Leading
Yeah,
off
I think
the year last year.
Sure. I think we've set a standard, right? I think every time you reach a certain level of play, I think you set some standards. And for us, it's not just shooting for the standard, because then that means we're not really getting better. It's not easy to win one. It's even harder to win two. And I think that's what we're trying to identify with our team now is, how do we go from being the hunted to being the hunted, right? To being the hunters to being the hunted. And I think we now in the ASUN and even regionally, we're starting to get a bit of a recognition and a good reputation that people, when now they show up to play us, we're no longer the doormat, right? And we haven't been in a while, but from a winning, right? Winning creates credibility. And from a credibility standpoint, it's challenging us to raise our day-to-day environment and to raise our standards on a regular basis in practice, and really formatting the championship mentality on a regular basis rather than just, once we get to the championship, now we have a championship mentality. Now that gets created on a regular basis. So now we have a bit of a reference point to go off of, because yeah, we won, we had a good year, but it was really difficult. Like the way to the top is anything but clear. It's really, really bumpy, and there's several obstacles, and our ability to overcome and stay united through those obstacles, that was the key for us winning the championship. So as we go through new obstacles and new adversities, we have a bit of a reference now to look back to and say, hey, we went through that well, we got to go through this well. And each year presents new opportunities, because you have new people and new players don't really want to hear about what you've done.
Yeah.
Right. Because they weren't part of that. So it's about, we have to be mindful of not using the championship year as the present status, because it's not. It has to be new, it has to be fresh, and we have to keep raising the standards up.
Got you. All right, well, finish off the interview with just, if you have a word of advice for any high school students or transfer students that are looking to sign to a school for next semester. Yeah, I'll let you have the floor for that.
Sure. I think open-mindedness, right? I think a lot of players that are getting recruited to their credit, they've been recognized as the best in their craft, whether in their region, within their team, their school. So they have a good personality, they have a good confidence to them. When they arrive at the next level, everybody here is just as good, if not better than them, simply not because of talent, but because of preparedness. Some guys are physically more prepared. Some guys have been in an environment for 2 to 3 years. So they have the leg up on you. So being open to be coached, right? Coachability is a really important, trait that we're looking for in players. Are they competitive and are they coachable? Because we can identify talent. Talent is one of the easier things to identify. Now, how does talent act in the face of adversity? That's hard. And I think for a lot of young people, they don't really enjoy that, because to many elite youth players, they haven't had to face that many of adversity, because they just been typically more physically or talented or skill talented. Mm-hmm. So a coach is not going to sit them, even if they have a bad day. They typically end up playing a lot more anyways, depending on the environment they come from. So when they get here, they're going to be faced with that. They're going to be faced with 2-3 guys in their position competing and wanting it just as much as they do. So the openness to learn, openness to seek feedback and be open to feedback. I think that's one of the things that we've seen over time really help with the transition of a new player in a new environment, especially transfers included. Typically they come in thinking that they're coming in here to solve the problem rather than to be part of the solution. We want you to be part of the solution, but no one team can be solely dependent on one player, right? Especially a game like soccer when there's 11 of us. Right. One player doesn't really make that big of a difference. But if all of us are working together and filling our parts, then yes, one player can make a huge difference. So it's really more of the openness and the mentality of receiving feedback that many young players, if they come in with that, with spades to have more of, they'll be great. If they come in with a closed mentality of, well, I've been recruited because I'm good, so then just take me as I am,
Mhm.
they're going to have a tough time. But if
Right.
they want to get better, if they want to improve, then they'll be fun to work with. They'll be great to be coached, and they will see improvement over time, and their experience will be more positive because of it.
Yeah, so you got to be humble and open-minded in a sense.
100%. Yeah. You
Absolutely.
have to know you have to know that you don't know everything, right? And that's for all of
Right.
us in general. But what don't you know, and go, because most players have never played at a college level, and it's completely different. As any college athlete will tell you, the speed of game, the speed of thought, the physicality, the intensity, the fact they have to train every single day at that level, it's difficult. But if anybody wants to play at the further level, at the professional level, this is a great a proving test for that. So
Mhm.
if you can do it here, then you give yourself a better opportunity to do it at the next level. But if you can't do it in college, then your level of playing in the pros will be more limited.
Yeah. Good. I think you had a lot of great things to say. Wish the best for you this season, you and your team.
Thanks,
Thank you
man.
so much for meeting with me and having this interview. I really appreciate it.
Of course, no problem. Let me know if I can anything else I can do to help.
Okay, for sure. I'll be in touch.
Take care.
Have
What
a good
class
one.
is this for?
No, this is for my internship with LRT Sports.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
good luck with that. Let me know how it goes.
Okay, for sure. If it gets published, I'll send it to you. I'll be sure to send it to
Okay,
you.
sounds good.
All right. Have a good one.
Take care. Bye-bye.